Hey, so it's me, VestaraPaige, and, as you all know, you can just call me Paige or Vest for short. It's a compound first name, kind of like Anne-Marie. That's the one I know offhand that's like that. I don't, yeah. Okay, so, as you know, I am a blind transgender woman, visually impaired. I have a little bit of sight, can see people up close.
Facebook. Now. Fair Lily. Fair Lily added a photo in Satanists United.
Facebook thing. Anyway. I should have turned off talkback, but whatever. Well, I mean, voiceover. Oh, God, I installed my iPad. Hold on.
Voiceover off.
Okay, so now it won't interrupt. So I'm done caring so much about I do my makeup stuff because I like to do it, but certain things, a friend of mine, their username on YouTube, and go check them out. They do some good stuff, mainly gaming and other stuff. Their name is Sarah J, and they're trans as well. And they don't go through all the trouble to always touch up and shave all the time, and it made sense to me because they were explaining, look, people should see our struggles, what we have to deal with, and all that shit, not like he was like, all these trans people on YouTube, they're all made up and they always have their makeup done and all that shit. And it kind of sends a wrong message, I think, because then people can just fucking assume that we already have our electrolysis done. And those who don't know about electrolysis, that don't know shit about transition like I did for a very long time, and then, because I knew I felt like incomplete. I knew I felt so many fucking things, and there's like so much in my head that I want to get out in this video, and I'm going to bounce around a little bit, but it's just something I don't mean to do. I just end up doing it. I don't know if you guys can see me or not, so I'm going to try to just like kind of, there we go, sit in my chair like this so I know the camera's got me in view. I can see the light, but I don't know if you guys got a clear view of me, and I don't like too much light around me. And to be comfortable, I really do want to be doing these videos more often, and I might as well do a shitload of videos before the end of the year, just to kind of do some catch up. And I'll be doing them at night from now on, unless it's like something special. So here's the deal. Let's stop talking about transition for a little bit. After I say this next thing, that not everyone is aware of everything about transition, about transgender people, about, a lot of stuff that we deal with. And this video, in a way, is related to transition, my transition at least. Sorry, my jaw tends to get really tight. I've had issues with it for a while. And like, I shaved recently, but I'm probably starting to show a little bit, and it's gonna cause me gender dysphoria, yeah, but I can't shave like right the fuck away when it starts to grow in, because it's gonna make me break out and all this shit that I really don't want. My Moto Z's being a dick. Ever since I tried to get the Moto voice to like freaking, I'm just trying to get comfortable. Okay. Think you can see me. Yeah, I'm going to safely assume that you can. Yeah. So, even if you can't, it's my voice you need to be hearing, not so much face, but that is an important thing, kind of, I guess, because people do want to know what I look like. But, you know, there's tons of videos on my channel of me, so if you don't know what I look like by now, go ahead, go through my old shit. And I have to upload my older stuff from my old channel that I shut down. It's just to show where I started and transition to now, just to kind of give people an idea of, yeah, you do change. Things change, you know, as people, we change. Transitioning, I had to really deprogram a lot of things about things I feel like I've been conditioned with, you know, growing up male. You know, so what I want to talk about is wrestling. And I wanted to do more wrestling videos, and for a little bit I was. But I got really depressed, and with depression, it's very difficult to do things. I'm gonna fight really hard in 2019, and I'm done not making promises anymore. I'm just gonna do things. I'm gonna just say fuck it. I'm just gonna do it. You know, if I do it, I do it. If I don't, I don't. It's too bad. I'm not saying too bad to like my subscribers or anything, but I'm saying too bad, you know, to feeling like shit about it, because I have to take care of myself and realize that I need to be less hard on myself, because it's not something that I should be stressing about. But I stress about it anyway, because I feel like, how can I reach more people if I'm not posting more? And I've only got so many subscribers, but, you know, it matters to me. And even though I'm not doing it for a popularity contest, I want to reach people that feel alone in the trans community, or feel alone in mental things, or feel alone in so many ways that I feel alone in. And I just don't want the people to feel alone the way I do, because you shouldn't have to. So I want to talk about a little bit of wrestling, my thoughts on it, and one thought in particular about wrestling recently that does relate to my transition, and how I'm struggling with a very shitty depression wave right now caused by, you know, WWE's bullshit. You know, honestly, WWE hasn't been the same since, like, what? I was 12. Oh, God. And I don't even know what year I was 12 in. Okay. So, I've got my coffee. You guys know that I'm always drinking coffee, or some sort of caffeine. You know, kind of helps me keep going. Hurricane runs on Dunkin'. Well, my favorite is Dunkin', but this isn't Dunkin', it's just store-bought shit. We made it. I made it, rather, but my aide made the pot, fresh pot. So, a tribute to the troops is tonight, and as much as I like to boycott WWE, take a shit on them, and kind of, you know, I don't hate WWE. I love wrestling. I love WWE. I hate the way they do things. Now, let me start. Monday. The Monday before this Monday, that Raw was the lowest ratings in the history of Monday Night Raw. There's a thought that popped into my mind as transitional related, and I will talk about that after I'm done with this. And to be quite honest, I'm not surprised. I liked the way the women's match was. I like all the women's matches recently. They're alright, you know? And they could be a lot better. You know, honestly, the wrestling that took place during the Mae Young Classic, that was amazing. I'm really big on Toni Storm right now. Shut up, stupid phone. You know, ever since I tried to set up the fucking motor voice on the fucking thing, it's been like doing that. Phone's a piece of shit, honestly. And while I liked the women's matches on the Raws recently, the men's matches have been not that great. And I'm a 90s baby, so, you know, I think a lot of us Attitude Era babies that were born during that time, wrestling was kind of in a way, a magical time. Not magical like Mickey Mouse magical, you know, not like that, but magical like, you know, there's something about it. You know, even though it was adult, it was raunchy, it was in your face, it was everything a wrestling fan could ever ask for. Except women's wrestling back then was complete shit. Now it's the other way around. Women's wrestling is starting to get better, but the era we're living in is shit. And this is the era of contradiction. And I say that because as many times as they say they care about what we think, I feel they don't. I feel that Vince McMahon cares about what he thinks. And I feel that if the WWE really cared about what the fans think or how the fans feel, they wouldn't do shit that really hurt a lot of fans. And I will explain on Monday, this Monday. I'm glad they got rid of Baron Corbin. He was getting on my nerves. And I'm not going to take anything away from Baron Corbin. It's just, you know, I'm not a big fan of his, but as a wrestler, I respect him. But the storyline of the abusive GM was just so... Ugh. You know, Eric Bischoff played a way better abusive GM than he ever did. Paul Heyman played a better abusive GM than he ever did. And it's not all on him. It's the story writers and storylines and all this shit. And my ex, who we're still very close, Brie, she had told me that because I asked her one night, I was texting her on my Android phone with TalkBack, and I was like, what the fuck is going on with the Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose storyline? It's fucking confusing. Like, she's like, well, you know, Vince has been writing the stuff for Raw lately, so there's your answer. And I'm like, ew. And then I ask my other friend what's going on, and he's like, well, you know, Vince has been changing things, like editing things. And I'm like, don't do that. You hired writers for a reason. Let them do their job. Like, just because it's not what you like doesn't mean it's, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean the fans won't like it. Like, the person explained to me that he was ending things so that every Raw...
1-815-691-2081, Illinois, 2 fingers...
I'm not answering that. I don't know anyone in Illinois. Fuck off. Yeah, fuck you. No, thank you. Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm gonna hit the fuck you button. I'm gonna hit the... No. Okay.
5:19.
Anyway.
5:19 p.m.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ringtone volume set to 100%.
I don't know anyone in Illinois. So, I did have the Paige ringtone, but,
Screen
my
off.
phone, they updated Zedge, and now it's shit. So I'm just better off buying a fucking ringtone from the iTunes store when I get an Apple phone. So, back to what we're saying. And this is going to be a long video, and if you got the attention span for long videos, I tend to end up doing them a lot. You know, because not everyone wants to be watching a video that's over like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And I know Sean's view, I'm subscribed to him, and his shit is pretty short, but, you know, he's not too bad. I know a lot of people shit on him, but, I'd rather deal with him than a lot of other people. Like, I listen to Saint, I can't pronounce his shit. Sean's View Entertainment. I listen to him, Macho T sometimes. Anyway. So, the whole, like I was saying, if you're gonna have higher storyline writers and all this shit, why bother? Why do you have to? You think, oh, Raw should end on a happy ending? Well, maybe not everyone wants a happy ending. You know, honestly, like in the middle of the rivalry during the '90s, those were the best times in storylines, I think. You know, in the middle of it, Monday Night Raws didn't always end well. They ended shitty. Like, they ended really, like, boo, you know, like the booing for the heel and all this shit. But that's the point. You want to build momentum. You want to build that, that kind of thing so that when it comes time for the face to get over and kind of kick that guy's ass, or for when, or her ass, or whoever's ass, or whatever. You know, I just feel like, you know, even in the days of the anti-hero like Austin, it was built properly. And they knew how the fans worked. They knew how our minds worked. They knew what we needed, what we wanted. Nowadays, I feel like they don't give a shit. And that's why your ratings suck, because you don't give a shit. You do what you think works. You don't do what actually works. And there's so many things I could say, but if I do say all those things, this is going to be like an hour long, and that's a lot. So, and yeah. So they said we're gonna do away with the GM. They said we're gonna do away with the GM, and we are going to make you the authority. Problem. That works for Raw. For SmackDown. Now, I was told by my good friend who follows wrestling very well. He has good resources that I don't. Like, he's able to see like GIFs and memes and, you know, read articles where I don't have a very good computer right now. But he's good at all that stuff. And he was saying SmackDown's getting the ratings for 3 and 4s. You can't expect 5s all the time. And that's pretty damn good. Since the summer when Paige took over as GM, and I'm not just talking about this because I, admittedly, yeah, I'm in love with Paige. Okay, fine, I'll say it. But she's also my idol and role model, yes. And the next part I'm going to say that's transitional related after my done explanation of everything. You know, like, a lot of fans really like her. She speaks to the fans. She speaks to the WWE universe. And if we are the fucking authority, why break something if it ain't, like, why fix something if it ain't broken? There we go. You know, like, it wasn't the GM on Tuesday that was making the ratings low, you know, and furthermore, if you wanted ratings to get more of a 4 instead of 3s, more 4s, maybe 5, then throw some excitement out there. Give us more. Give us different kinds of matches, different storylines. And I think PG, you know, a lot of parents are going to complain, but why the fuck are little children up at night anyway? They should be going to school. That's my view on it. And SmackDown goes from what, 8 to 10. And I suppose if they don't want to do a straight up Attitude Era, but not a straight up PG era, another way to go about things is the first, what, 8 to 9, they could do like the more PG-ish stuff, and 9 to 10 they could pull out the more involved storylines that may appeal to adults. And they don't do that. I mean, they don't even have more Like, they don't even have, like, they could have been putting, like, Attitude Era, like, or adult, content, like, shows on the network to keep us more intrigued. And there's things I want to say about the network, too. But it is what it is, and they really did something stupid there. They took away something that worked, which is Paige's GM. And Shane said the role was going to be changing. What the fuck role could you put her in? You know, you need superstars on your roster. Not just as GM, but, like, yeah, you got your Becky Lynch's, you got your Charlottes, you got, you know, your Daniel Bryans and your AJ Styles and all them, but I just feel like when it comes to having people connect with the crowd the way that your superstars do, you don't use them that way. For example, what is AJ Styles doing right now that connects with the fans? You know, I don't have interest in the storyline. I don't have interest in this rivalry. It just seems like a complete and utter... It's boring. It just bores me. Like, keep me interested. Is there a reason AJ is, face? Is there a reason that Daniel is heel? Besides the fact that his character at the moment has a superiority complex. That he may feel a certain type of way because he's got a lot to prove, because he had, you know, a very long time out of wrestling. Not very, very long, but, you know, a few years, and people may doubt him and all this shit. Like, I don't know. I feel that what is the reason, the true reason behind the storyline? Big deal. He kicked AJ in the nuts. Okay, who cares? That just shows that he's willing to achieve his dream. That just shows he's willing to do whatever it takes to achieve his dream. Is that necessarily bad? No. But it's kind of typical that they would base a storyline all around that. Okay, that makes Daniel heel. Why? That makes him heel because faces aren't supposed to kick people in the fucking balls. Alright, wonderful. You know, but, you know, there comes a time when you might have a face that is going to do whatever it takes to be champion, right? So, I just feel like there's not a connection. You know, back in the day, Austin had a connection. Everyone wanted Austin to win. Austin was like the person that everyone could relate with, because he was kind of like, I won't do what you tell me, and who doesn't want to punch their boss in the face and fuck you authority. So, you know, besides that he won't stay down, I just don't feel a connection to AJ. I respect him as a wrestler. My favorite AJ Styles persona at the time when he was in TNA was he was heel, and he had the Injustice, what is it called? Evil Ways theme. That was my favorite version of him. So I don't know. Becky, you know, I really, really like Becky. Especially because, you know, people don't, she's not exactly what you would think Vince would want as a face for the women's division on SmackDown. And because she's not mainstream, and she's steampunk, and she's different, we like different. I like different, you know. Like, I'm not speaking for all the fans, but anytime someone different, someone who you normally would not picture as the mainstream gets over, it means something. And Charlotte, okay, she's very talented. I think that they need to keep pushing Charlotte to be aggressive the way they have, because it shows a different side of her. And now I'm going to get into the transitional shit, which this is part 2 of my video. And it does relate to wrestling for me a little bit. I'm very frustrated lately with some friends. I'm just in general frustrated with people because they don't understand, and I can't expect them to, but at the same time, they don't know what I'm feeling. They don't know how much I'm hurting. They don't understand. But what gives them the right to tell me stuff that, you know, in a way it feels like they just tell me get over it. And, you know, I feel like because they don't get it, they feel like I'm making a big deal out of nothing, or I'm just overreacting. It's more than Paige being an idol for me. It's more than a role model thing, and I've explained it. And they say, people say they get it, but I really feel like they don't. Because at this point in my life, when I feel this way, I need my friends, and I feel like if they can't be there for me, then why say you support me? Why say you're always there for me? Why? You know? And I don't want to hear excuses from anyone. There's not one particular person I'm mad at. It's kind of just a generalized emotion. I don't want to hear shit like, oh, when you're negative, you're pushing me away, or you should be more positive, or, you know, there's so many things that can be said to me that I'm just not going to fucking listen to it, because you, at the end of the day, don't know what that person on the phone that you call a friend is thinking in their head. You don't know what they're feeling and how much emotions run and how real they are. Everyone on this fucking planet, in this fucking universe, in this fucking galaxy, you know, has a right to feel what they feel. And when I feel genuine hurt and depression, you know, yeah, I got depression, yes, I have gender dysphoria, and anxiety. My cat's just scratching on the chair. I have those things, but, you know, the thing, it doesn't make me who I am. But last year, Paige retired, and I felt like part of me died. And I'm still trying to recover from that. And, I had to fix my jaw for a sec. I was feeling tight again. And this year, they took her down for SmackDown. And I'm probably, you know, I guarantee you, I'm not the only person that feels, like, affected by it. I mean, like I said, Paige means different things to different people for different, you know, reasons. But one thing is common amongst all us freaks and geeks. We love you, Paige. We look up to you. And we always will. Those of us who are really, truly in your corner, we will look up to you until the day we die. Because she's helped so many people. Like, I was on Twitter last night, and shut up! I didn't ask you, Meadowy. The person on Twitter said, you know, thank you, Paige, for getting me through this year and all this shit. You know, Paige just being on TV, just existing in a way that we get to see her and hear her in the present moment, gives us hope. And for different reasons. For me, when I transitioned, when I started transitioning in my first year, I was finding myself. I knew I was a woman. I knew I know I still am. I just, you know, it's my wording. I'm shitty with wording. Let me start again. In my first year of transition, you know, I knew, and I I was kind of like, I know I'm a woman and I know I'm doing the right thing. I just don't know what kind of woman. I don't know who is me. What is me? You know? Like, I saw other women walking in the streets and they flirt and they look all confident and sexy and, you know, I wanted that. But they were comfortable in their skin enough to do that. With me, I wasn't. I am now to a point, but it's harder for me, you know, when I don't have a way, and this is going to sound really weird, and it may not make sense, when I don't have a fucking way to see the person I feel like on TV. Like, it's like a mirror for me. Oh, pardon. Here's a good book reference that might help. Read Beyond Magenta. It's a wonderful book about transgender teens speaking out. And I think towards the last few chapters, I'm not going to name names, but there is a wonderful woman, and she says that she looks up to Mariah Carey, and she wanted to be Mariah. It's kind of the same for me. I look up to Paige, Soraya Jade Bevis so much. And I'd give anything if I could. I just don't have a way to go do meet and greets. You know, and I feel like WWE is not going to give a shit enough about someone with depression, someone who feels like cutting, someone who is gender dysphoric. They're not going to care enough about that kind of thing to find a way for me to go. So, you know, I got to figure out how to do that on my own. And when I look inside, back then it was really hard to visualize the true me, because I didn't know what it looks like. I didn't know, I just knew what it felt like. I wasn't sure how to put it in English. And, like, obviously I'm goth. Obviously I am into the occult. I'm into magic and the supernatural. But those are things about me. It's not necessarily my identity. And when I saw Paige, I was like, I'm you. I'm, you know, I'm not literally you, but, you know, I look inside and I see like a paler version of this mixed person. Like, on my mom's side, I'm Vietnamese and Chinese, and I take a lot after my mom. Like, I have tiny hands, I have tiny feet, I have, like, my face, like, it has a lot of my mom's features. I would keep that stuff. And that's who I visualize, and that's who I see spiritually on the inside. Even though I don't have the best sight, I can still see mentally. And when I picture that, I see a lot of Paige in me, and her personality, some of that is in me. And I see the woman I'm meant to be, and it's hard to think that there is a way to manifest that physically here, because I feel like there isn't. Like, what are they gonna do? Like, you know, it even comes down to body dysmorphia, because I need it and want it so bad. To be me, to be myself, to be that kick-ass goth chick in the shelter who had confidence, even though she didn't have, you know, 38 Cs yet. And these are natural, they're not like implants or anything, you know. I don't have anything against anyone who has implants. I'm just saying, you know, that was all from like hormones, and I guess you can get into that another time. But back then I was just starting out. And the reason I had confidence is because I still had independence as a blind person. I could still get around. Still do stuff. Still do what I need to do. If someone needed me, I was there. And, you know, now I'm trying to find her again. I'm trying to find that person again. Because for me, that is me. You know, yeah, I feel like kind of dead inside right now. And someday I feel I'll recover and I'll figure things out. But right now, I need my friends, and I need my friends to have patience with me, and I need them to try, even if they don't understand, to just, you know, be kind to me, because I can't turn my stress off. I can't just wish it away. I can't just not feel sad, because the Paige in me is literally trying to get out to the surface. And when I say the Paige in me, I mean like the real me. You know, my first name is a two-part first name for two reasons. Well, Vestara I got inspired by because I really like Sith, and I'm a big Star Wars nerd, and I related so well with VestaraPaige. And Paige, it was a tribute to her, and I fell in love with the name Paige, and that became my real female name. So I was like, alright, fine, that's gonna be my legal name. A two-part first name. That is a lot of fucking background, and that's how I feel. And you know, I feel like I said, Paige means different things to different people. There's a I guess you could say there's a little Paige in all of us freaks and geeks, but for me it meant something literally, you know, that when she says be you, be yourself, I take that to heart, and I do the best I can every day. I do the best I can every day of my life, because depression is really hard, and waking me up in the morning when I don't want to is a big fucking victory for me, because I'm diabetic now, and I was once at the point where I didn't want to eat like a few days ago, and a good friend from Ireland kind of woke me up and asked me to eat something for her, and I thank you so much, because from the bottom of my heart, you are my friend, and this person knows I have feelings for them, but you know, I'll always feel like I owe them a debt of honor, because you know, I would have gotten up eventually and ate something, but I didn't want to, and this was before the Paige thing. I guess you could say the inner me, you know, that because the inner Paige that's in me is trying to come out, the real me, the me that doesn't give a fuck what people think, because I really don't. I just want them to quit fucking using the wrong pronoun, you know. There's just more I could say on it. There's so much I can say on it, but this video has been long enough, and I think I got my points across that I need to get across, and I'm throwing this on YouTube as of now. So yeah. Alright. I'll see you later, freaks and creatures. Stay cool.